Hello, everybody. This is Joshua Hatton with One Nation Under Whiskey Podcast Extra Edition. I'm joined today, and as always, by my good friend, my co-founder, Mr. Jason Neal, Patrick Harris, Johnson, Glenn Grant, Yellen.
2011 represent.
2011. How amazing is that, Jason?
15 years, eh?
15 years. That's wild. That's absolutely wild.
Yep. Sunday of this past week was the February 8, which was the date of selling memberships. That date comes in 2012, of course. But the establishing of the company, 2011. Gosh, we did it, man. Yeah. We did it.
We did it. We did it. We did it. Yay! Always team up. We did it.
We did it.
They said it couldn't be done, and we did it.
Indeed. I remember that day. I remember being so nervous to turn on the store and just say, here it is. We're letting people know. And then people signed on. And a lot of those people, those founding members are still here with us to this day, 15 years later, right?
Your tone there is, and they're still with us to this day.
Some of those bastards left us. I mean,
it was the tone of voice of, and some of them are sadly departed, except yours was, and many of them are still with us. But yeah, May of 2011 was establishing the company, and that was a jolly big deal. Jolly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, indeed. So, indeed it was.
Here we are.
Indeed it was.
And now what are we doing?
Well, speaking of here we are, I think our viewers want to know, so here I am. I'm in my whiskey room / base room / random boxes at the floor room, which hopefully
I meant to ask you to move those before we hit record, but we're too deep in it now. Yeah,
well, but here you are just in a random yellow room with a hanging picture. Looks like a painting that your mom might have done, if I recognize her
super
work.
Close on that, yes. My mom is known for her watercolors. This was actually a piece that I commissioned for my first anniversary with my wife, Tamara. And so this is a watercolor of the hotel in which we got married.
Aha. Okay. Well, there you go.
First and last time I bought an anniversary gift.
Tamara's a lucky woman.
Once you have a home run on the first one, what do you do next? It's all downhill, right? Paper is the first anniversary. It's a watercolor on paper, Yeah. Wood is the second anniversary. It's in a wood frame.
Go easy, Jason. This is a family-friendly podcast, Jason.
I covered the first two anniversaries. What's next? So yes, still freezing temperatures in Virginia. It's like an ice rink trying to get out to my office. So I just came back from a week in LA with temperatures in the high 80s Fahrenheit, which is the low 30s centigrade. Now I'm back to the 30s Fahrenheit, which is right around the zeros of centigrade. So a little treacherous trying to get out to my office. So just playing it a little safe in the dining room, but hopefully I'll be back in my office before too long. We'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, not that the room isn't unattractive, but I like the bottles in the background, and it's just, and not that that picture isn't unattractive.
They'll never be in the background of a One Nation Under Whiskey.
No, huh? Okay.
Painting my walls yellow, taking this painting out to my office.
Just replicating what we have here.
It's the only set of blinds I've got. All right, Type 35, what are we doing?
Okay, all right. Listen, so this is what we're doing today, Jason. We are sharing news of something that I think is really exciting. Not only did we just start seeing on store shelves retail release number 14, right? Our lovely importers at Impact's Beverages started releasing that to our various distributors around the country. And we're going to talk about those individual bottlings in a bit. But retail release number 14 is the introduction of our new packaging for the retail bottlings, right? And, back in November, we launched our new packaging for our e-commerce or our online exclusives. And the hope was that we could launch these at the same time. But here we are launching them separately, which I don't mind. I like that sort of double step approach, starting the new year afresh with some new packaging. And so what I wanted to do was sort of show people, hold on, I wasn't fully ready. Believe it or not, Jason, I wasn't fully ready.
Open your pants on. Be thankful you're a listener right now, listeners. Viewers can see his tiny whities as he wanders around his base/whiskey room over there.
Okay, so for our viewers here, right? Here's our old packaging, the old logo with our old label. We had our screw top, which is sadly, Jason,
sadly retired.
R.I.P. I'm actually a little butthurt about that, but here we are. And now we have our new packaging with our fancy new logo. Look at that.
It announces itself into the room. Tell you the number one thing, even as you hold these up to the camera, number one thing for me is that age statement, proud and centered right below the distillery name.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cracking to see. That is pronounced.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a package that really works right down the center, from strong logo to the name of the distillery to the age statement. That's a real center presentation. Look at that.
Yeah.
And then details coming off the sides. Flavometer remains. I spent, in mentioning last week in LA, I spent time showing the new offerings to California retailers. And one of the things I made sure to point out is the flavometer remains. We've also added the web component to this. And so you'll now see full tasting notes for the retail line on the singlecastnation.com website, which is there to support our distributors and our retailers. So more information is better than less information.
Yeah. And this was, just like our online exclusives, this was 8 years in the making. Do I have that number right?
No.
8 to 9 years? No, I don't. What's the number there, Jason? Correct me.
Because
you're so good at it. Correct me again, Jason.
Do you know a whiskey angel gets their wings every time I correct you, Joshua?
Fuck, there are so many fucking whiskey angels. Dad says every time. Sorry, go ahead.
In 2017, we launched US Retail, and that came in the tall, clear package with the bigger wraparound label with originally the grey cask. Then that evolved to the coloured cask. And then somewhere around the end of the pandemic, depending how you count the end of the pandemic, but towards the end of the pandemic, we moved into the shorter screen-printed bottle with that screw cap that you were just showing off. So we're probably 3 or 4 years in the making.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's right. It was
Thank
with
you.
the oh my God.
Thank you for keeping me straight, Joshua. I appreciate it.
It was our online exclusives that had that longer time frame.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Correct.
Okay. I'm just doing the math here. Not very good, but I'm doing the math.
For the nerds out there, technically you're doing arithmetic, but we'll let that go.
For our folks on the other side of the pond, they say, no, we're doing the maths. I think that's what it is.
The mathematics. Yeah, my 15-year-old was asking me over the weekend, so what's the difference between arithmetic and mathematics? I was like, I have no idea, but I know there's a difference because I know math geeks who will point out the difference between arithmetic and mathematics. So
there is a difference.
That's a crowd pleaser, right? That's one to bring in all the geeks.
I saw you pour something.
I did. Well, so number one, I want to show off my delightful glass here. Look at this.
Look at you.
Look at that.
Oh,
that is in honor
special.
of Jess, who is traveling while we are doing this recording. While I was in LA, she was in Germany, and you, Joshua, are preparing your trip to Canada.
That's right. Yeah, I'm going to spend some time with our our good friend Travis Watt and Bearded Dave, and we're going to be up in Quebec and in Ottawa.
It's so funny. As much as my glass is in honor of Jess, I've just done the thing she hates the most, which is I've shown it to the camera and not told the listeners what makes this so special. So this is a Dala horse, which is a Swedish horse, and it's holding a Glencairn in its front leg with its hoof there. I don't think Dala horses can actually do this, but
I don't think
maybe if you believe hard enough they can. But Dala horses are very pretty, and it is Jess's go-to logo. So...
Huh. Do Dala horses have opposable hooves? To hold on to the glasses?
I think it's got one of those whiskey festival lanyards on, and so I think the glass is actually being held by a lanyard. There's a joke for the video crew. I can't explain that one to the listeners, but I wanted to pop a little something in the glass, have a little nose while we're announcing. I'm thinking, Joshua, as you're talking about the new livery, and we're talking about this 14th retail release in the US since 2017. Do you want to show the big, broad picture? For the viewers, again, listeners, when you're home, feel free to check into the YouTube. Please check out the Single Cask Nation channel. But look at that
Look
there.
at that. There you
Ooh-wee. We've got a Bunnahabhain 11-year-old, a Glenbergie 13, a Glencadam 14, a Cambus 36, a Glendronach 14, a Glenspey 13, a Fettercairn 12, and a Glengrant 21.
Look at that.
And,
what a lineup.
they're very pretty. Yeah, it's a really strong package. Also for those viewing, but I'll describe it for those listening, the SCN shorter logo exists on the top of the cork now as well. Gosh, did Joshua just dash off to the green room
I
there
gave
so
you a
could
little
have full
highlight
screen?
is what I did.
Oh, now he's gone and done it.
I was, helping
because
a
we're
brother out.
switched. Look at that. Holy moly. Gosh, I felt all alone there for a second. Oh, and then I tell you, I was pointing this out to retailers in LA. This is a micro-agglomerate cork. And so this is not quite a synthetic, but it's also not quite a straight-up piece of natural cork. These are essentially pieces of cork brought together using a vegetable glue. And they are, some say, they are more reliable than natural cork. And unlike synthetic, they will still swell to absorb a little bit of the whiskey. So as much as I know you are sad to see the back of the screw cap, and you know the nation was enjoying that screw cap, there's no doubt about it, we're really excited with the micro-agglo cork on here. And so please let us know your experience as you get the micro-agglo. It's also it's good hefty. Like it really fits the hand nice and goes with the bottle really well.
And it's better than microaggressions.
I'm loving it. I put a lot of time and effort into that in 2025.
It's better than microaggressions, I would argue.
Yeah, microaggressions are to be frowned upon. Microagglomerates are bringing us together. So
I like
there
that.
you go. That's how we do it.
I like that.
Oh, also, for our label here, worth a little note.
Can I highlight
just
that?
like our online exclusives, where we present the nation, here... for the viewers is Jess. Here is Joshua. Here is our importer, Sam Filmus.
There he is.
Just in the background. And there is longtime supporter Lee Zaro, Mayur, who hooks us up, Bonnie Nolan right to the edge there.
There you go.
So for the first time ever, the nation is on the retail labels as well as the online exclusives. So you are the nation, and we continue to celebrate you in 25, 26, and beyond. So cheers to the nation.
Cheers to the nation, indeed. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. You know, we said it from the beginning that we wanted Single Cask Nation to be this collective, this you know, bringing a people together from everywhere, and it really meant a lot, and we've held true to that, and we're putting it on our packaging. It's on our website. We talk to these people. We text with these people. We email with these people. We vacationed with some of these people. You know, it really is a true community that's personal, and it does mean the world to us. So to have everybody on the label, it's you know, it's not marketing schlock. It's real stuff. It's real stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Just glancing at the label on my table here, I already see you twice, and I got a hunt for myself in some distant corner of this.
Well, look at that. There I am. Well, it's just I've got so much hair. It only looks like I'm there twice.
So many places. Wow. Wow. Oh, there's me behind the cast number.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Behind something.
So
Never seeking the limelight. That's always been my superpower.
So
my humility. That's what sets me apart.
I want to go through each of the whiskeys that we have here, and then I want to get to the whiskey that you've chosen and why you've chosen it, and then we'll get to the whiskey that I've chosen and then why I've chosen it. But let us start. We'll go in alphabetical order. How's that?
And we've got 16 minutes on the clock on the wall.
Jason, come on. Stop being a clock watcher. Stop being a clock watcher. Here we go.
Clock blocker.
So we've got our Bunnahabhain Stoisha, 11-year-old, right there. All 11 years in a refill bourbon hogshead.
Fantastic.
Right.
Full maturation is what we want.
Right. Yep. And it's got that classic sort of like, I find Bunnahabhain Stoisha to be kind of naughty.
All right.
Right? It has that kind of like more dirty, seaweedy, low tidey kind of thing going on. But where do you get your white chocolate fattiness? It's not with Bunnahabhain, but Ardbeg, right? I get a white cake that comes through in Bunnahabhain, which I quite like. And so as much naughtiness that comes through in the Bunnahabhain, specifically, refill bourbon, you get this lovely white cake sweetness that comes through to help balance that out. And I quite like that with this one.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, makes good sense. You can set your watch by a wee Bunnahabhain Stoisha.
Mm-hmm. And it took me a while to get around to the peated Bunnahabhains, but I finally taken to them, and I'm falling in love with them. Right. Left, right, and center.
All right.
Oh, all right. Oh my God, what I'm drinking, Jason! I can't wait till we get to what I'm drinking because it's like drinking butter. Oh, it's so good.
Viewers will never guess what he's drinking.
So whiskey number 2. This is our 36-year-old Cambus single grain Scotch whiskey, distilled in June of 1989. That is a Jess Lomas special there. Right?
I think it's up to actually. I'm speaking out of school. I'm actually not sure where it falls in the June. I know we've done another offering that was closer to the end of June for its birthday. But yes, June 89, the very important month where we welcomed Jess Lomas to the world without ever knowing her background.
I was speaking with Mike from Travel Bar about this particular bottling because he, if you remember correctly, he recently called our Cambus 28-year-old that was released in 2017, I think it was, maybe it was 2018, one of the world's best Scotch whiskeys ever released.
Indeed.
Period. Right? And what an honor to be counted amongst so many other famous bottlings. And he loves Cambus. And so I mentioned this to him. And that other one was 28 years and then the final 6 months in Muscatel. This one is the final 4 years in an STR cask that was seasoned with PX sherry. And he had said, ooh, does that overtake the Cambus? it's a fair question, right? It's grain whiskey, and so which tends to be a bit lighter. And I said no, and I opened it up, and I said, well, I remember selecting it. Let me open it up and remind myself why we selected it. Full on cannabis, but it was like drinking candy. Like it was just so rich and candied, but that cannabis. The spiced orange gumdrop was just the backbone. It was just right there.
Yeah. It's as much as I'm busy telling distributors and retailers we look for mouthfeel in our selections, and then hosting tastings, people really get a sense of what that means to have a chewy experience. But at the same time, even with a cask finish, even with a good number of years on it like that, we're still looking for the distillery to come through.
Course,
The distillery still has to be represented in there. So very much a fair question. I think Mike knows that we are selectors who look for distillery and we look for mouthfeel. But I'm glad he's a Cambus lad. He's also a Deanston lad.
Yes, he is.
Good to get some Cambus in there for him.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Yeah, great. 36-year-old Cambus. Great bottling.
And then the next one is our 12-year-old Fettercairn. Ba, 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 ba. Is this the second Fettercairn that we've ever bottled?
We definitely did the Boba Fettercairn for independent bottle shops of the Northeast.
Yeah, for Massachusetts, specifically Massachusetts. Yep.
Specifically. And so I think this is our first Fettercairn for general release in the US. Jess always shouts at her radio when we're busy saying this is the first of a thing, when global markets had it before the US. So I tread a little more carefully than some.
Yeah, so final 3 years in new charred oak.
Yeah.
And just adds that lovely sort of oak spice on top of their sort of lighter, more delicate floral spirit. I learned something, or was it learned or reminded? I don't know. I feel like learned because I often learn things and then forget them. And so it's like every day's a school day because I just forget shit all the time. But it was actually just today, I was scrolling through Facebook and someone had posted a video of some of Fettercairn's spirit stills. And I saw they have something special they called a copper cooling ring on their spirit stills. And what that does is it sits outside of the neck of the still, and it just coats the still with continuous cold spring water. With the idea to it's like a cooling jacket, basically.
Yeah.
And it just adds for more reflux to make for a lighter spirit. And you watch the video, you could see the liquid just pouring down the side of the still. It's a really wild thing to see. There's no other distillery I know of that does that.
Yeah, it's one of those tricks is instead of making your swan neck longer, a la Glenmorangie, for the size of neck you have, you can add on the cooling jacket or the copper cooling ring, did you say?
Yeah, what do they call it? They call it...
Sounds like a medical device.
Copper cooling ring.
There you go. Yeah. So there you go. You'll increase your reflux and get a lighter spirit out of it, which is kind of interesting because I think of Fettercairn having this kind of grizzled grain quality to it. You know what I mean? And I really like that aspect of it. Fettercairn has definitely been one of those ones for us in showing it off. Either people haven't heard of it or they've seen it in passing but they've never really bought a bottle, or they've said, oh yeah, I'm not really a Fettercairn fan. You know?
Yep.
I tend to find that within its stable, along with Dalmore and Jura, I think that stable gets overlooked with the Dalmore sucking up all the oxygen in the room. And I think we can say this about every single distillery. There are good casks associated with almost all distilleries.
Ooh, almost. That word is doing so much heavy lifting.
And I did. I had a great time showing off this Federcairn last week in LA, really surprising people and really saying to people, look, so many whiskey fans have distillery lists that are 10 distilleries long, 15 distilleries long, maybe 20. Okay. There's 140 plus working distilleries in Scotland.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to sleep on some. It's easy to miss some. But hopefully if you see Single Cask Nation's stamp of approval, right, some sense of curation there, then, you know, that's a Federcairn worth your time. And it went over very well when I was sharing that with distributors, retailers, and consumers.
There you go. That's so great to hear. I was one of those naysayers. Federcairn was on my shit list. It just didn't... It didn't click with me. I didn't click with it. I didn't understand the spirit. I'm still understanding it, but what we've bottled, they've been fantastic. They've been, that first one we bottled, I still say it's like walking into a spice bazaar. There's just so much going on, and it's contemplative and it's fun and it's unique, and it's come to my house to say, you gotta try this, right? It's one of those really fun drams, and I think we're doing it again with this one. It's unusual and fun and delicious to boot, you know?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. I endorse this message.
There we go. All right, so now we're gonna move on. Oh, Jason, when you think of the Glenbergie Distillery, is there a particular nation member that comes to mind?
I think there are corners of the nation that think about this nation member when Glenbergie gets mentioned. Yeah. Michael Nolan, long-time supporter, you know, has written in, long-time listener to the podcast as well. He's Mr. Glenbergie. He has championed this distillery on an island of one. and this for me has got some of that spicy quality to it that is just an epic drinker. And as always, you know, you wait to hear from people for whom these distilleries are very special. Yeah, I think the Glenbergie meets the Spanish Old Oloroso on this one. Really handsomely. 13 years. Gosh.
Right.
Yeah, that flavometer is pretty full on the the rich and the sweet, the spicy, the nutty, the oaky.
The earthiness. It's there.
Doing a lot in there. It's a real cracker. And I would say the same thing as the Federcairn, although I'm more prone to find people who have never heard of or never experienced Glenbergie, more so than I'm meeting people who are like, Glenbergie's not for me. It's definitely of the never heard of that one. So I love the fact that Nolan's out there championing it, and I love that he's really giving us the confidence to go find great examples of it. And I think we've definitely got a cracker there, and I think we've done other cracking Glenbergies along the way. Yeah,
this one reminds me of the last heavily sherry Del Ewing we bottled, where it's right.
High praise.
Well, it's got that big Spanish oak presence coming through. However, the spirit shines, and you get that like those Glenbergie berries coming in, that brighter sort of fruitiness coming in. So it's not as heavy as Del Ewing, but the cask is there, but that bright fruitiness from the Glenbergie, it's just like it's a lovely little match made in heaven. But that cask, if you loved the cask treatment from that previous Del Ewing, this is within that wheelhouse. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Flavometer says it all.
Yeah, there you go. All right, moving on. Glen, which Glen should I go with? I'm going to go in alphabetical.
Well, the alphabetical would be the GG.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be the GC.
Oh, the GC. Oh, my God.
Jason's wrong this day, listeners. Jason's wrong this day, viewers.
Oh,
let's revel in this.
GC.
Let's revel.
Adam.
Red letter date, February 11th. Jason was wrong this day.
You only say that so it extends farther into the future since we're recording this ahead of the 11th.
Every February 11th, Jason will be wrong.
He was wrong this day for multiple days before we dropped the episode.
Yeah, Glen Cadam. This has become, well, I've had a passion for Glen Cadam for years. You know, it's that bottle you see. Actually, I was going to say this is that bottle that you see on store shelves that you pass by, but I would argue it's that bottle that you don't see on the store shelves and you end up passing by because the packaging is, you know, it's lackluster. It's not the best packaging in the world, but you grab a bottle, you open it, and you fall in love with it because the spirit is remarkable. And this, you know, is within that wheelhouse. Remarkable liquid, but you've got an extra 3 years in heavy toast, medium char American oak, right? That is just, you got that heavy malty backbone that Glen Cadam has, but then that oak spice coming through and that vanilla coming through, and it just sort of, it's like a perfect storm of flavors. It's a big whiskey for people who like big flavors.
Yeah, Bill Thomas, proprietor at Jack Rose Dining Saloon in Washington, D.C., is a Glen Cadam fan.
There you go.
And was excited to see our online exclusive Glen Cadam.
Yeah.
And you know, for anyone who's followed along with that one, that has the surprising florality that moved towards lavender a little bit. This Glen Cadam does not have that. Again, just I was leaving the door open in case you wanted to come and say, well, actually.
No, I'm agreeing with you here. It doesn't have that florality. I think you've got vanilla and coconut and maybe a bit of lemon zest coming through that might replace the florality. There's a bit of that lightness comes through in the finish for me.
Yeah. But again, very much to our point as independent bottlers, you may see 2 single casks from us from the same distillery, Glen Cadam, but 2 different presentations. And 2 different cask treatments. I was trying to remember the online exclusive cask.
That was an STR cask that was seasoned with Oloroso.
So there you go. Yeah, now heavy toast, medium char, American oak. So
very different proposition.
So there you go. Point, counterpoint, Glen Cadam online exclusive, Glen Cadam retail offering. Good. We're doing our job, Joshua.
Yeah, we are. I realize we're throwing some of these terms around STR. Like for anybody who's watching or listening, if you don't know what an STR cask is, and we've mentioned it a few times, that's a cask, usually a wine cask, that's been rejuvenated, right? They take off one of the heads, they shave, toast, and then rechar the cask. STR, shave, toast, rechar. And it just brings life anew back into that cask. It's almost like a new charred oak cask, but they dig into the wine line that was within the wood, you know, because the wine sort of goes into the wood a little bit. So you're getting some of the wine sugars from that toasting and recharring that's in there. So it's not exactly like a new charred oak cask. You're getting some of the sweetness from those wine sugars there. So it's presenting flavors that you don't normally find. And then, you know, if we're using that previous Glen Cadam as an example, or the Canvas that we mentioned before, or the one that we're about to talk about, which is where is the picture? The Glendronach. You know, that is an STR cask that has been seasoned with PX sherry, right? Basically a sticky dessert wine like sherry, right? So it's the same proposition where you have this cask that has the STR process with some of the wine sugars still left in, but then we put in the PX sherry to season that oak a little bit, to get some of that sweetness from the sherry to come through. Let that sit in the cask for X amount of time, bring out the sherry, and then put the Glendronach back in. And that Glendronach stayed in there for 3 years. Yeah. And man, I mean, let's talk about this for a minute, Jason. When is the last time you have seen independently bottled Glendronach?
Late last year from Single Cask Nation.
Before late last year. So I did a little research. I went to Whiskey Fun, which is the go-to, right? I mean, at least for me, that's the go-to. And the last one that I could see being released, aside from a Hart Brother, I think there was a Hart Brothers in 2020. Before that, there was 2010 was the last. In 16 years, you just don't see independently bottled Glendronach. There just isn't a lot of these casks on the market. So I think that's pretty damn cool.
I love your American confidence.
What? What?
There has to be somebody in the wide world listening to
Sure, there has to be. Show me the proof, Jason. Show me the proof.
Oh my gosh. I don't have the Scottish ability to make statements like that. I just don't have it. Wow.
America.
Something changed in the DNA when people came into American borders. Wow.
But I think we can say with some degree of confidence.
I would beg upon you to say I instead of we. I would beg of you.
Okay, let me put this out there. Our dear friend Allie Walker, formerly of Glendronach, had commented on my Facebook post when I put up.
See,
the
now you're
Glendronach.
bringing receipts. Now I can get behind it.
And this is what he said, Jason. I'm bringing the receipts.
Why wouldn't you lead with
Who was in the room, Jason? Who was in the room? Who was in the room where it happened?
Back into the left.
And he had said, where is it? Allie Walker, he said, indeed, you don't see independently bottled Glendronach very often these days. A rare creature for sure.
Do you see how he didn't put any years of release on that?
He didn't have to. He didn't have to. It's implied, Jason. It's all implied.
I can't even stay in view of my camera. I'm laughing too hard. Oh my God.
We have fun. We have fun.
Oh my God.
Should we move on?
Please, I beg upon you.
Okay.
I beg of you, please.
I want to hand the introduction. Can I hand the introduction of this one over to you?
Yeah. Well, what do we have beyond my favorite and your favorite? Does the alphabet have another one in store for us? This 8 feels like about 14. I'm checking the alphabet next to me. Are we real?
We're almost there. There's only 2 left. There's only 2 left. We saved the best for last.
After this one.
Yeah, after this one. Yeah.
So here, very, very quickly, I was thinking about this for today's episode, where this is a Glen Grant 21-year-old. You and I, from early days of Single Cask Nation, desperately wanted to bottle Glen Grant. Mm-hmm. We spent time at the distillery. We spent time with an absolute living legend, born on one side of the distillery and currently living on the other side of the distillery. I'm not gonna drop a name right here, but living legend. And you, sir, are welcome to name a living legend if you wish.
I mean, if I have to say Dennis Malcolm, I will. But here we are. You're going to force the American. You're going to force the American's hand. You know I'll do it.
Yeah. Don't twist my arm. Ow, Dennis Malcolm. And I remember then, and this was probably a decade or so ago. We tasted the 15-year-old, and it was 15-year-old in full bourbon maturation. And we, along with Dennis, were saying, this is shining example of Glen Grant.
Yeah.
This is the distillery in a nutshell. And then you add a little bit extra age onto that. And again, the reason I've picked this one as a favourite from this outturn is I don't normally, you and I've discussed this on previous episodes, I'm not necessarily an older whiskey drinker.
Correct.
I have become an older whiskey drinker, but that's because I keep having birthdays. But I don't go out looking for 21-year-old single casks. It's not really my remit. This Glen Grant, however, just shines, absolutely shines. And to the point of what we were talking about earlier, where the distillery character's there, right? Pear drops, dehydrated pineapple, vanilla ice cream, caramel sauce, honey cake. Like, it's just so pleasingly rich, and it brings in the sweet, but tempered. Like, it doesn't run away with the sweet. As we say, sometimes it doesn't become cloying. And so I love Glen Grant Spirit, and we've said this many a time before, but being in Italy for my brother's wedding and getting our hands on the Italian Glen Grant 5-year-old, right? And 40% alcohol? Like, that is an eminently crushable whiskey. Hashtag, please drink the whole bottle responsibly. And so to have this moment with 21-year-old Glen Grant, a further end of that spectrum, to really sit there and embrace this, still have the Glen Grant character come through, but have additional waves to come with it. 21 years in fresh bourbon barrel. And 57.3% alcohol?
Yeah, something, yeah.
This is a home run, an absolute home run. I'm really, really pleased with this, and really shows that we don't just pick our home favourites, but we also have the range to recognise other good casks when we discover them. So that's this one for me. Glen Grant, 21.
I love that. I almost chose this one as my favorite of the bunch, in part because Haida and I, so this was distilled September 11, 2003. Haida and I started talking after meeting on Match.com in September of 2003. And we actually enjoyed a dram together just the other day of it. And Haida's starting to drink whiskey with me, Jason. Listeners, viewers, this is insane. This is like I'm living a new world. Anyway, and
who says perfect relationships can't evolve?
Right. To become even perfector.
Wonderful.
But as amazingly as those dates line up for me, the whiskey that I keep coming back to time and time again, as amazing as all these are, the one that I come back to time and time again makes no sense because no one thinks about this distillery.
Right.
And I think they should, and I think I need to, and I think you need to, and I think our viewers and listeners need to. Glen Spey.
Yeah.
Glen Spey. So 13 years old, and this one spent its final... No, that's the Glen Grant. Oh, here it is. Of course, it's the one with less liquid in it. This one spent the final 7 years in a first fill bourbon hogshead. Right? So it's interesting, right? This I don't remember what the origin cask was. Obviously, it must have been, a refill bourbon, I'm guessing. But then first fill bourbon for the final 7 years. Yeah. And it is, for me, the most mouth enveloping. It is so viscous, so rich, so buttery. And Glen Spey, they, when they go through their process, their wort, they use a cloudy wort in their process, right? Which makes, if you use a clear wort, you have a lighter, fruitier spirit, or you tend to have a brighter, fruitier spirit. If you have a cloudy wort, right, which is what you turn into your wash or your beer, for those listeners or viewers who don't know, before you distill it. If you use a cloudy wort, which you still have some of your grains in there, the particulates, I should say, you end up with a nuttier style spirit. So all of that nuttiness is still in with the Glen Spey, and they have these sort of purifiers on their stills which allow for a slightly more oily spirit overall. And that just sort of comes through with the spirit, and I think that this quote unquote finishing cask, if 7 years is a finishing cask,
double maturation, yeah, I'm happy to own that term.
It really amplifies what the spirit is doing. There's no hiding it. It's just amplifying what the spirit is meant to be doing. And if that is the case, which I think it very much is, it goes to show that Glen Spey's spirit is gorgeous and needs to be paid attention to.
Yeah, we keep tasting cracking examples of Glen Spey. And, I was having this conversation with Ewan today, our colleague over in the spirits team at Artisanal Spirits Company. And he was busy saying it's the same thing, keeps tasting delicious examples of it. And as far as the title goes, you've got Glen on one hand, you've got Spey on the other. Right? Right. You've got two home run terms. And then you put them together and folk go, who now? What now? Right. And then he was adding today, just like you were adding on to Fettercairn knowledge, he was adding on to Glen Spey knowledge today, which is, for a period, the distillery stopped producing single malt to focus on its gin. So really? There's going to come a window where we have no Glen Spey.
Wow.
So, yes, so we will need to be judicious with the Glen Spey that we are putting out into market. But just like we've talked over the few years, Dalhuen, Balmenoch, Mannochmore, Inchgower, right? We could add Glen Spey to that. That's another place to turn the nation onto a distillery, curate a selection for the nation on Glen Spey. So, I was holding the bottle there. When you said the 7 years, I didn't remember the double maturation on it. Holding the bottle, it shows 234 bottles. The grand scheme of things, not a lot of bottles. But it reminded me, what I forgot to mention on the Glen Grant, is the Glen Grant 21 is 152 bottles that have gone across the US. So I would not sleep on the Glen Grant. I would definitely go searching for that. And Joshua's Glen Spey, which I can absolutely attest to us selecting really excellent Glen Speys and lining them up for future releases. Yeah. Great one there. Okay, I think as far as I understand the alphabet, I believe we have one left. And we're not getting beyond.
No, that's it. That's the 8.
G.
That is the 8. Jason, that is literally the 8. Are we missing one? Are we missing one? Listeners?
We did it, Joshua.
That's what I thought.
We did it.
8.
Now it seems so few. Now that we've concluded the list. All right, put up the big ticket pyramid.
Well, here's the big.
For the viewers.
Yeah, I want to do a couple things. So there they are. There's all 8 of your bottles. And we've got ages that run the gamut between 11 and 36 years of age. And it's single cask nation, despite the tariffs, because we are absorbing the tariffs between us and our good friends at Impex Beverages. You will not feel those tariffs on the retail shelves. We're still targeting $10 per year. In some cases, it might be a little less depending on your state, right? Your mileage may vary. I know you like to say that quite a lot, Jason. But the Cambus being a single grain is going to be even less simply because it's a single grain. I think the retail price on that is somewhere around $2.20-ish, give or take, right? Again, because it's
I have no idea.
Because it's single grain. Yeah, I think that's the price on it. So there you go. There's our 8 bottlings. We are in 25 states at the moment, but I need to point this out. These bottlings did not go in every single state. One of the interesting things we found out was this release was incredibly popular. Our last release, number 13, went out lickety-split. This one even faster. And so if you need help finding a bottle, first you can check our website to see if whiskey comes to your state. We've got a list of what states we're in and the distributors who carry our whiskeys. But if you need to find a bottle, you can just go ahead and email office@impexbev.com. They'll help you out.
They're really good about responding.
Yeah.
They're really helpful.
Yep. And, you can always email us too, info@singlecastnation.com. But I'll tell you what we do. We reach out to Impex and we say, can you help us?
Cut out the middle, man. It'll go faster.
But yeah, please seek these out. Support your local whiskey shop. And if your local whiskey shop doesn't have these and you want them to carry Single Cask Nation, it helps you because you can get your favorite Single Cask Nation bottlings, but it helps us. It helps our distributors. It helps our importers. It helps everybody up and down the line. We're bottling more whiskey. We want to get it out there. We want to get it into your glass and down your gullet. So yeah. Ask your shop. And they can likely bring it in for you, assuming the distributor still has stock on it and it's in your state. So, am I missing anything, Jason, about this release?
Nope, we have covered all angles of it. It is, we say it every time. It's another one we're very proud of. It's another one we've tried to show some different distilleries, some unusual distilleries, definitely flavor driven. Definitely texture driven, and if there's a fun little geeky story we can throw in, we've gone ahead and done that today as well. Please go forth, support Single Cask Nation, and enjoy your whiskey and your micro agglomerate corks.
So 2 points of business before we get out of here very quickly. The last episode of this season is next week, but we still have some time for those who want to send in questions for the mailbag, because our last episode is always a mailbag episode. So info@singlecasknation.com. Please send them in, and we'll get to as many questions as we can. But don't wait. Don't rest on your laurels. Send these questions in ASAP, and if you want them read. So that's point of order number 1. Point of order number 2 is subscribe to our YouTube channel.
I'm seeing people doing that.
I have to. It's nice. It's nice.
It's been very nice to see. Yeah, whenever I turn on my TV and I turn on the YouTubes and I've got myself logged in, it's lovely to see our little mugs showing up along the way. I turned on my YouTube the other day and there was a link to Jess talking to Glasgow Distillery. I know there's no video attached to that one, but we do still have the audio at YouTube, as well as anywhere you get your podcasts. But really fun to see us show up next to, digital fireplaces. And these are the Scotchies to avoid. It's a whole wide world out on the YouTubes, I tell you that.
So there you go. Subscribe, click the button, ring the bell, tell your friends. And you know what? Buy some bottles, whether they're ours or someone else's. Buy bottles, bring people over, share them with friends. That's what it's all about.
Single Cast Nation.
Single Cast
And
Nation.
Dalla horses.
And Dalla horses with their opposable hooves. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Retail
Jason.
Release 14 in the bag.
In the bag.